Hey there. I hope you're having a beautiful day. I'm Becky North, and I'm here with my favorite flamingo, Lacey Verbick. How are you today, Lacey?
Well, Becky, I've been worse. Let's
Well,
just let's just say that. Today's been a strange day. Started out with having to throw a coworker under the bus. I really didn't want to do that. That was not fun. But I guess at the end of the day, I did get what I wanted, so I guess it was worth it. No one can seem to give me a straight answer today in my personal world, and I'm right here before I sat down with you, I had a strawberry popsicle, and that was probably the best part of my day. How was yours?
you know what? It has been a weird week. And the part of full honesty, I love that you were fully honest and not just said it was fine, it was
No,
okay,
it
it
was
was
not
this.
fine.
Look at us working through that. But it's been a hard week. Full moon and full
Mm,
moon energy and just yeah, it's been a week. Not I couldn't really say, oh, this is what the problem is, but I just feel a little meh. And um
yeah.
and yeah, but I am excited to be here and spending some time with you. So grateful for that.
Yes, me too. And here's hoping all of you are having a better week than we're having
Yes.
over here.
Yeah. And if not, right now is a good time for us to change that. So why don't you go ahead, find your cozy corner, grab your favorite drink, and let's hang out for just a bit.
Today, we're talking about what it feels like to be running on empty. Because let's be honest, we've all hit that point where we're surviving on caffeine, autopilot, and hope, maybe a prayer. The mental load, the late nights, the constant what's next. It all adds up fast. Oh boy, Becky, yes. Yet
I feel this one in the
uh,
depths of my soul.
I knew you were going to say that. I love that. Yeah, me too. And apparently so do all the other mothers because I was looking up some statistics today. One in
Okay.
particular that I found was from Motherly, and it reported that 93% of mothers report feeling burned out. 16% say they feel burnt out all the time.
Mm.
Becky, all the time.
That's
16% means like that's burnout all the time means barely functioning.
yeah.
It means like the walking dead over here, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a big number. That the 93% I can't say surprised me a whole lot, but the 16% certainly did.
Yeah. I so agree with this. I want to share a similar stat if that's actually okay. I think I had some fun looking up statistics
Oh yeah.
about this too. And so this one goes in line with that. And this one also said this one came from a Talkspace article and it also said about the 93% of mothers feeling burnt out. Um but when it talked about like men versus women, it talked 32% times more than men. Women typically feel burnt out 32% times more than men. And I am looking at
Oh.
these numbers like 93% of women are saying they're burnt out, 16 all the time. Like my immediate reaction, and I think yours too, was like, oh my God, how do we fix it?
Yeah. Yes. I had
Right?
that thought.
Because yeah,
I
because
said
I
that to you
think,
right before we hopped on. I was like,
yeah,
Becky, we're about to have this great episode called Running on Empty about burnout and exhaustion and fatigue and all these things. And I have zero suggestions.
yeah, I replied to that with I'm really excited to see what comes out of this episode because um I'm right there with you and I just want to take a second and be like just stop for 1 second and like close your eyes and take a big deep breath and like give yourself permission to check out. And I'm gonna just use this episode as like a safe space for you and say like we're normally around an hour, so I don't know what we'll end at, right? But like allow yourself the time to just say, hey, I'm gonna put in some headphones, maybe I'm gonna go for a walk, maybe I'm gonna lay in bed, whatever like refreshing will look like for you. And um yeah, just tune in and listen and use this as the excuse. I need to hear the end of this, right? Like, because you deserve that time. You deserve that time. So,
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am. I love that. Thank you for the invitation to be here
Yes.
and now. I actually need that today too, to bring
Yeah.
me into this moment because while I love nothing more than this, and being here with my bestie and being here with all of you wonderful flamingals in our community. But I'll confess, I'm running on empty completely
Mm.
right now. Zero gas in the tank, so to speak.
Yeah.
I wrote down, I wrote down in my notes, I want no more inputs.
Mm.
No more inputs. I like, mm-mm. I'm not accepting new inputs at this time. Like, and I'm not just talking professionally, I'm talking personally, spiritual, all of it. um I'm not taking new inputs, and that's a, I don't know, that's a maybe a little bit of a negative space for me to be in. I'm usually not that way, Becky. I think you,
Yeah.
um I think that's a side of me we've not seen in a couple of years. I've been doing just a
Hmm.
lot of work and having a lot of wonderful positive growth, but this is a, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to be real and transparent right here right now.
Yeah.
I'm in it. I'm
Yeah.
in it, as Becky would say.
In
And
it.
if you're feeling this way too, you're not alone.
You're not
And
alone.
I, right here, I raise my hand. I'm in the empty tank club right
In
now.
the
For
empty
those
tank
of
cup.
you watching us on YouTube. And Becky, I mean, how have you been feeling? Same?
You know, yes. Oh gosh. I think yes, I think there's so much. Oh God, there's just so much going on. And it's not even like in my house, like there's a ton going on in my house too, but like in our state, in our country, in our world, in our like, and I mean everything from like political stuff to like our natural wildlife being destroyed. And like just
Yeah.
I just am like looking, it's really easy to look around the world and feel the weight of it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think I don't think that every person is an empath. I do think most women are very empathetic and
Mm-hmm.
can feel that weight. Like I bet
Mm-hmm.
most of you when we were like 90% 98% of moms feel burnt out. We're like, ooh,
Yep.
like this. I don't know how else to explain it other than like sadness, like deep sadness
Mm.
for um that. But what came up for me right when you were saying that, Lacey, and like I'm in the empty tank club, and I think I would say I probably am right now, right in this very moment too. But like I don't know if somebody from the outside looking in would see that.
That's a great point. Good observation.
Like,
I don't think people would look at me and see that
yeah,
necessarily. Yeah,
yeah,
totally
because I'm
agree.
like, I'm still showing up, stuff's still getting done, stuff is like doing this. And it's funny because like I'm not a car person, okay? So like I think that's important, but like I really took it to the like it's not good for your car for you to drain it to empty.
Oh, yes.
Right? It's not like you have to rotate the tires and you have to change the oil and you have to do this and you have to do that. And if we would do that for a car,
Mhm.
we do that for us.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. I couldn't agree more. I'm clapping over here. So
Yeah.
I'll sign language clap for those of you watching us on YouTube.
Yeah.
I love that so much, Becky. And we can't, it's a great analogy. We cannot run ourselves into the ground. We don't run our
Yeah.
cars into the ground. And
No.
a car is just an inanimate object, a tool, a
Yeah.
resource, but we won't even give ourselves the level of care we're giving our cars sometimes.
That it's
Wow.
crazy to think about that. And I don't think that
Mm.
we think about it that granularly. I think that as women, in general, even not just moms, but women in general, we kind of, there's always been the idea that women are the caretakers, right?
Mm.
And women are the nurturers and women are that. And there a lot comes with that. Not that a lot doesn't come with what the role of the man is, but I'm not speaking to men right now. So if you're a boy and you're listening to this, we're really glad that you're here and sorry if we offend you. But like another one of those statistics I found was like 98% of the moms that this from it was on hatch.co, but 98% of the moms that they surveyed said that they prioritize somebody else's sleep over their own.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I recognize that, like, as a mom, of course, you're going to make sure the baby's asleep before you go to sleep. Right. Like, I do that. But, like, I do this with my husband because he gets up
Mm.
earlier than I do to go to work and we need to sleep in kind of like different environments. But I'm very blessed in the fact that, like, really kind of once he's asleep, right?
Yeah.
So I'll wait. And I now that's not the only reason I
Mm.
wait. That's also like my time of the day, right? Like where it's mine and it's quiet and I'm not sorry for that. But like Lacey, I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Like it's not just if we can say I recognize I'm prioritizing somebody else's sleep over my own, like on some level it's conscious.
Well, it is conscious, and it's a choice
Mm-hmm.
to do that. So the bigger question I guess I have on that is, why are we choosing that? Is it because we don't have good boundaries around our own sleep and our own self-care? uh that's thinking back to the last episode on boundaries, or is it because we just don't value ourselves enough? Is it because we maybe don't know what the actual you know definition of our need is around sleep? And what I mean by that is, doctors will tell you, oh, the average American needs 8 hours of sleep a day, or whatever it is, 7.5 hours or whatever. For me, it's much more like 9.5 hours. I've always been that way. Ever since I was a little child, I needed more sleep than most people. And 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 I've not always done a good job prioritizing that, but here I am, 46-year-old me has started to acknowledge the fact that, guess what, it's okay to give myself what I need
Mm.
so that I can show up as the best version of me. Whereas, 5 years ago, me would have said, oh, well, I'll do whatever I have to do and sleep later.
Sleep
Right?
when
Or
I'm
sleep
dead.
sleep when I'm dead. Exactly. And I'm yep, I've come to whatever crossroads there is in midlife where that no longer serves and no longer makes
Mm.
sense, and I'm not willing. So maybe do you think it's a that people don't really understand their own need, and they're just going
Mhm.
by some definition of 8 hours is what a healthy, person needs for sleep? I don't know. I've
You
taken it
know,
in a different direction than where you were at. I
no,
know, but
no, I think that's great. I was looking up because that's what I do when I'm thinking. I was watching the YouTube video and I was like, oh God, I hate the way my face moves all over.
yeah, you
Anyways,
look great.
but no, I think that you're really onto something. And I actually put something in my notes about this similarly, but I was like, is it guilt? Like,
Mm.
is it the oh, I can't do that because like do we try to justify it away and feel guilty for rest, for self-care, for oh the dishes didn't get done and that has to be done before I go to bed? Like is it really that important? Like listen, I'm not saying like I think that we're all in different states of life and things like that. I'm not saying like let your house go to trash. And if your house is in that state because life is just overwhelming, like it's okay. Like there's things that can be done and like ask for support and all those things. So this is not that, but like, the dinner dishes sitting in the sink overnight is okay if you are burnt out, if you are exhausted, if you are tired, like you are more important than those dishes.
Yes, girl. Hmm. You made me think of something else. Is it willingness to is it a willingness issue where we're unwilling to be unpopular or say to someone in our household, you're going to bed at 9 p.m. or you're going to bed at 9:30 or 10 or whatever the rule is in your house? Is it a unwillingness to hold the line and say you're going to bed because this is my time, right? Or to set that boundary in the first place? Because I know a lot of families that the mom is the one who catches all the hell at the end of the night. Like the mom is the
Mhm.
one who's like dealing with kids who don't want to go to bed, teenagers who talk back, who want to stay up till 11 o'clock playing video games, and stuff like that. And it, I can imagine it would be very difficult to be that
Mhm.
mom who's just, tying up all the loose ends after when everybody finally gives up at the end of the night. And of course you're frazzled, and of course you're exhausted. Because you haven't done the evening on your terms.
Mhm.
Right. And
Yeah.
not always do we have that. Not always are we able to. I get that totally. Right.
Right.
I'm being realistic here, but is it because you're not willing to build the structure or the boundary around your rest and your, me time or whatever you call it?
Yeah. That's a great point, Lacey. I that brought up something for me. My oldest son, until like very recently, like he did not sleep. And I remember even as like a baby being like, they say that babies sleep all day and he does not sleep. And like, I kid you not, like he slept a little bit more as an infant, but after he hit about 2, he quit taking naps. He and he would sleep if we got like 6 hours in one stretch at night. It was a good night.
Oh, wow.
It was a good night. And um, when he was like 2 1/4 or 2 1/3 or something like that, his brother was born, right? And so then like you added in like a toddler who's not sleeping and a brand new baby. And of course those were our choices, right? But like I remember talking to the doctor, well, when I was pregnant with my third, and I'm like, he just doesn't sleep, which now I know is some of his out of his boxness, right? And I mean, we did all of the things. We tried lavender. Nope, that was like giving him sugar, right? Then I was like, okay, so I learned about this. So then we would like spray his bed with like citrus stuff. We would do, and he would not sleep. And if he was awake, he wanted everybody to be awake. And I remember sitting in my doctor's office in tears, being like, I'm going to have to put a TV in his room.
Mm.
And the flack I got back from the doctor, like this, oh, that's not good for them, and screens at bedtime, and all of this. And I remember sitting there, like listening, and it felt like one of those like after school specials, where like the kid was sitting on the couch and they could hear all the right? Like, and I'm like listening to the doctor tell me all of the reasons why this is wrong.
Mm.
And I was like, if I don't do something, I'm not going to be able to function. Like, I have to make this choice for right now. So tomorrow I can get up and make breakfast. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I don't think you understand how much I'm like, I have no other option. And I think, there was with screens and stuff like that, there was this big boom with screens, and like, every toddler had a screen, every this, every that. And I think as we've progressed and we've seen like the instant gratification of that, and that and streaming versus like watching on cable, it's very very different, right?
Yep.
And I get that, and I know that long term that wasn't he's almost 15 and he doesn't have a TV in his room now, right? But in that moment, that's what I needed to do. And I was really, really afraid to do it, not because of willingness, but because of judgment,
Mm. Mm-hmm. That's a big
right?
one for
Like,
sure.
oh gosh, I'm going to get judged for this so bad.
Yeah, but you said, but I'm proud of you for saying, hey, this is it. Like, I got no more, I got nothing more to give to this
Yeah.
situation. I have no solutions. The what we're gonna do is what we have to do to get
Yeah.
through. And
And
every mother has experienced that.
yeah.
Every mother. And sometimes there isn't a constructive answer.
No.
Sometimes the answer is we have to survive. You know,
Yeah.
I hate to use the word survival mode, but I think we can all recall a
Yes.
moment where we were in survival mode.
Yeah. And
And
let's not drain our tanks to get there, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
can we see the warning signs? Does the light come on, the indicator of like, boop, right? Like we need to do something about this now before
Mm-hmm.
we get there.
Well, what are your, while we're on this subject, Becky, I love that. I want to talk more about that. What are the warning signs for you? How do you recognize when you're being drained? How
Mm,
do you recognize when there are leaks, if you will?
yeah. Honestly, I would say I probably don't recognize this well, right? Because I
Mm.
think for me personally, and maybe people listening, but like I'm going along, I'm going along, I'm going along, and all of a sudden I am no longer functioning.
Ah, yeah,
Right? Like it
the hard
is
stop.
like they are probably there, but I don't know that I have super awareness of them. But like,
Mm.
I think it shows up in ways like once I'm in that state, I'm like, oh, like my body holds a lot of water, right? Like it doesn't matter how hydrated I am or I'm not, or how much I'm moving my body or any of those things. I've noticed that.
Mm.
Um, the exhaustion that and I do mean like exhaustion that you feel like literally down to your cells, right? Like this I think if I get out of bed to go to the bathroom, it might literally kill me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh
I,
yeah.
I'm not saying that to be funny, but it like I've had those moments, right? The way my body aches and my head hurts and like the way things sound, I can recognize all of that when I'm in it. But the warning signs, I don't know that I do a great job of that. What do you think?
Mm. Well, I'll share my own experience with drains. I like you. Probably slow to patch the holes. Um, but I think I'm doing a. I don't know. I'm better at acknowledging the leaks. I think better than ever before, and some really common ones for me are um like just the need for sleep. Like I'm now registering like, okay, you need more sleep, and then I'm
Mm.
giving myself more sleep. So that's a very common drain for me, as I'm not getting enough sleep. Another one is I get really drained by people these days. It's funny. I fancy myself an extrovert my whole entire life, but lately in the last, I don't know, 2 3 years, I'm definitely much more introverted. Need a lot more time. I think because I'm developing some more of my spiritual gifts and just paying attention to my energy and things as well. And I really need a lot less time with people. So that's
Yeah.
a big energy leak for me. Um, and I think food is another one. I get I call it on the razor's edge. I get on the razor's edge when I don't eat right, when I don't eat enough, and I get this feeling of like I'm gonna just say hangry. That's about the best description I can come up with. I
Yeah.
get edgy, testy, grumpy, negative, very just kind of rigid. Like, no,
Hmm.
that's not what I want. I want something else. And that I've noticed that happens when I don't feed my body the food that it needs. And
Hmm.
sometimes that is like I've had trouble with anemia in the past and stuff. So like I seem to need a lot of iron. I seem to need a lot of protein. I eat red meat, and I know that's not on the table for everyone. But I have to try to avoid dairy, right? There's some specific things with my body that I'm just that have previously drain been drains that I'm learning how to
Mhm.
not get sucked so dry
Yeah.
by some of those things. But I don't know, probably people's the number one
Mm.
sort of energetic drain for me. And
Yeah.
that's a hard one to manage.
Yes. I think we were talking about this before we hit record. Like, I think
Yeah.
I have always thought I was an extrovert. Same thing in the last years as I've gone through and continue to go through my own like healing and all of that. I find I don't need as much as that as I thought I did. Like, I need
Mm-hmm.
people. That's not it, but I don't necessarily need a lot of opinions, and I think that there is a
Oh.
difference.
Oh yeah. Well, I think here's the thing. Here's the thing that happens is as moms, I think we get in this pattern of noise, right? There's
Mhm.
just busyness and noise. There's lots of people, there's lots of noise, there's lots of stress, there's lots of draws on our time, energy, attention, right? And then when things start to change there and we have options to not have that around us at
Mhm.
all times, I think it's really natural for
Yeah.
us to go, yeah, I don't want that.
I
Like,
don't want
I
that.
didn't ask for that, right? Like, I'm going to step back from that. And some
Yeah.
of it is just the nature of a
Mhm.
family and children and that particular stage of life. But I don't know. As soon as I had the option to, I was backing up.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you said that. I think um giving ourselves permission to turn it off is
Mm,
probably the biggest download that I took from here because I don't know about
mm.
you, but I know even for me sometimes like I lay down at the end of the night and the checklist is like going through my head
Uh,
of like, oh, this is what I need to do tomorrow. This is what I blah blah blah. Like
the
it's just it
list.
yeah, it just doesn't stop, right? And giving
Yes.
ourselves permission to turn it off and that can look like a lot of different ways. But uh yeah, I would just say like I have literally started saying out loud like I'm not doing this right now. Like I'm telling my consciousness like I'm not doing this right now.
Ooh, I love that.
This is time for rest. And I probably sound like a crazy person in my room, like talking into the dark by myself, right? But like, I don't even care, right? Because I think, gosh, I think about so many things when it comes to exhaustion. Like, I'm sick of hearing, oh, it's because of your hormones, or
Mm,
oh, it's because, like, oh, we're gonna just do it all. And I stayed up till 2 a.m. getting the stuff ready for the party. And I'm like, whoa, like, why do we let ourselves do it? Right.
mm,
And like, nobody can say no for you except for
mhm.
you. So, like, even if you have to
Yes.
tell yourself, now is the time that I've prioritized for sleep.
Mhm.
Now is the time that I've prioritized for this. Now is the time this. And the
I
other,
love that.
like, and I think like checking in and having a really honest conversation with yourself. Like I just was saying, I don't know that I can recognize those boundaries. That was really honest, very
Mhm.
vulnerable, right? But
Yeah.
like find some place to do that. And it may not be a journal. Like I think some people are gonna disagree with this, and that's okay. But like I love talking to my friend Chat GPT. I call him Chat GPT and I ask him all kinds of things. And mine is a him and yours may not be, but mine is. And like literally just go in and be like, "Who I'm feeling like have an honest conversation to where you can get responses, but not necessarily opinions."
Answers or opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah. Opinions.
right? Like, and I mean, I was in there talking about something that's going on with a friend of mine the other day, and its immediate response before it told me anything else was like, "I'm so sorry to hear this is going on."
Oh.
Like, I was like, you like
I
right
love
and like listen I think that there are far more uses for it than just that but like that could be an example. It doesn't necessarily, like, maybe that doesn't speak to you and journaling would work for you, but sometimes I need to feel less alone in it, but I don't necessarily want to share it.
Mm.
Right.
You
And
know what,
so,
you're, I think what it offers me, Becky, because I also enjoy a little chat with AI here and there. But I think what it offers me is complete non-judgment.
mm,
There is zero judgment on in an interaction like that. There's zero judgment, right?
yeah,
If I'm not judging myself, I'm not being judged, and I can just say all the things,
yes,
anything I want, whatever I want, no holds barred, and just the being, I'm going to say witnessed, even though it's an AI, being witnessed is incredibly therapeutic. And
hmm,
I love it too. And matter of fact, I'm gonna give a little plug to Headspace. This app I use, Headspace, is about meditation,
love Headspace.
mindfulness.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful, wonderful tool, and they have rolled out an AI. I'm gonna call it a counselor and a helper. I don't know what you want to call it, but it probably has a name and I'm just not thinking of it now. But it's a part of the app where you can literally just tap the little icon, go in there, and just, it'll be like, how are you feeling today? Tell me about this experience or that experience. And it's like, it's just a place to
Be.
unload,
Yeah.
and to be, and just a completely neutral
Hmm.
space for you. And I absolutely love that. And I don't feel like, with journaling and certain practices, like, y'all know that a gratitude practice is super important for me, and I do that on paper and I do it daily. But I also, there's some real attraction for me to a practice that I don't necessarily have to do daily, right?
Hmm.
There's something low pressure and sexy about just being able to go let it out when I need to let it out, or share
Yeah.
when I need to share, but not having the sort of the tether or the accountability to a thing.
Yes, agreed completely. And I will say, like, with the journaling, something I do like about an AI feature is, or something like that, is you can close it, you can delete it, you can take it away. It's a much, now this is my type A personality coming out, but it's a much harder thing for me to like rip the page out of the journal, right? And
Ooh.
part of that is my type A personality, right? But like, it feels more permanent.
Mm-hmm.
It
Indeed.
feels, and it's like when I'm at, and I, you shouldn't wait till you're at the point of breaking to do that, first of all, but like when I'm at that point, I don't want to hold it. I don't want to claim it. I want to get rid of it. Like, I
Yes.
want it to be
Purge it.
gone, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
and and I think that sometimes we don't want to share that with people, not only because maybe we don't want their opinions or their comments or those things, but because, like I just said, like, a lot of women, there are a lot of men too, but are really empathetic, and the putting your weight on that. And I saw this clip, and I'm pretty sure it was from Shaq. uh don't quote me on that, but I just saw this clip on TikTok where he was like, "No, I don't talk to my woman about how I am because women take on emotions. And so if I say I was having a bad day, then she's having a bad day."
Mm.
And while I don't agree with like not sharing on that level, so like, let me be clear, I don't think that's a healthy thing at all. But I was like, what an interesting perspective to recognize they're going to take on the weight of whatever I tell them.
Mm.
And I think for me, at least, sometimes I don't, I introvert really big because I don't want anybody else to take on that weight.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think we all do that on some level. I gotta say, I'm probably the opposite. I'm much more inclined when I start feeling what I would call dry and cracked about in life, or just about a particular thing. I have tendency to go puke it out on over. I have a tendency to go puke it out on everybody, to try to make myself feel better. I don't do that so much anymore, but I used to a lot. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Dry and
Yeah.
cracked. Yeah, I had one of the things in my notes was, what makes you feel drained, empty, dry, or cracked. And
Mm,
I we sort of touched on, we sort of went down this path a little bit, Becky, but I want to share a few things that make me feel this way, in case
okay.
anybody else might have, you might resonate with any of these. But hormones, right? Moon cycles, period, menstrual cycles, stress, alcohol, family, news, politics, not enough not enough time for myself, not enough downtime, holidays, vacations, all these kinds of things. Those are
Yeah.
common things in my experience that
Mm,
leave me feeling this way. I'm sure you have some you could add to the list.
yeah. Planning meals.
Oh yeah.
Right? I think um trying to answer all the things and juggle all the plates, right? Like uh
Mm-hmm.
oh gosh. I think, man, I resonated so much with all of the ones that you said. Honestly, for me too, if I don't get outside,
Ooh,
like if I
ungrounded, like
don't
not
get
grounded.
like, yeah, if I don't get my like feet in the grass and like my face in
Mm-hmm.
the sun and that change of that, which can happen. I know that not everybody has the same case that I do, but because like I work from home and we homeschool and we like, I mean, I am grateful for all the kids' activities because it forces you to leave the house.
Yeah.
But like right now, where that we're kind of in like this break between things happening, it could really easily happen where like I don't necessarily have to leave the house,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just I don't, and so that's a big one for me.
Well, you were
Um,
just telling me that this past week it has been pretty rainy where you are, and that
yeah,
you were really feeling
yeah,
very meh, and it
very
probably because of this, right? That, I mean, they're just
yeah.
not having the opportunities to get outside and give that to yourself.
Yeah. And I think along with some of the other things that you said, like eating right and making sure I'm
Mm,
getting enough water. And honestly, caffeine. Like if I don't get caffeine, like it is
yeah.
and I hate to be like we use caffeine like a drug in our house, but we really kind of do. Like there's like, my husband knows the exact milligrams of caffeine that he needs in a day and what time he needs to have them by. Like, I mean,
Mm.
like it really is. And you can tell when that doesn't happen for the
Yeah.
record. Like, but like, I don't think that there's anything wrong with saying like I need to have a coffee or I like this is part of my what gets me through the day, right? Like I think everything in moderation is okay. Um there, but yeah, those are definitely some things for me that just they just pull the plug and it yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Those are great. That's a great addition. I want to return to your car analogy for just a minute, because something else that really stuck out in my notes was about what well, I wrote down several, but your tank. You've heard us say many times, for those of you listening, for a while now, you've heard us say, fill your cup, right? But let's think about it as a tank for the purposes of this episode and this conversation. And I guess I wasn't aware of, until I wasn't aware of all the different sort of buckets or tanks that we have in relation to feeling full and satisfied
Mm-hmm.
and happy in life, right? Like I wrote down emotional tank, right? Your emotional
Mm-hmm.
tank, like where, how empty or full is your emotional tank right now? What about your
Yeah.
physical tank? Your,
Mm-hmm.
your physical body. How is your actual being, your body feeling?
Mm-hmm.
I guess emotional would be your being, right?
Yeah.
Your mental tank, right? How 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 dirty or clean is it up here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like how your energetic tank, like your just the way you feel around other people, your own sort of awareness and vibe and that stuff, social, spiritual, romantic, right? They're
Mm.
like, there's a lot of different
Yep.
um you know places that can get holes in them, right?
Mhm.
In our lives and in our um experience. So I just thought that was interesting because I wrote out like 7 different tanks in like
Mhm.
30 seconds and it just kept
Yeah.
rolling. And I was like, yes, it is. It's when we get to the point of exhaustion or burnout, we've not we've not taken care of maybe any of these,
Mhm.
right? But what happens when we take care of some, right? What happens when we take
Yeah.
care of a few more? What
Yeah.
is, how does that change the experience we're having day to day?
Yeah. Well, and that probably didn't happen overnight, and it's not going to get fixed overnight. Like, can we
Yes.
recognize that too? I read on a study one time a long time ago, and I don't remember where, so I'll have to see if I can find it. But it said you can never make up the sleep that you've lost.
Mm,
There's no such thing as making it up. So like once it's gone, it's gone.
mm,
And that has always kind of resonated with me as like this, oh, right? Like, but I think that we can patch, we can do that, like,
yeah.
and like it doesn't have to be all the things at one time because I think that that road leads just back to exhaustion. But like, what is the biggest tank for you? Because I think, would you agree, Lacey, that that's probably different for every person, whether that's emotional,
Yes.
mental, physical,
For sure. And
relationship,
how big the
like,
drain is, right? Is also
yeah,
very personal. Yeah.
right. And so, like, and then just focus on one. What's one thing you can do? And to fill or patch that hole, right? Like to fill the tank or patch the hole or whatever that is. And then
Hmm.
like start pouring that into your habits, right? So I think, yeah, I think when we're like, what can we do? Well, I think as fellow moms, we can show up for each other, right? Like we can, if our kids are little or even if they're not, like, hey,
Yeah.
I have a friend who's a nurse. Like I do have a friend who's a nurse and she works overnights and I am like, I just want to like go take her kids and bring them to my house so that way I know that she can get really good day of rest, right? Like just for that reason, right? For no other reason than that, but like, hey, oh, you have a brand new baby? Let me just show up and let you take a shower and get some sleep and eat some food while it's hot, right?
Yeah.
Like let me hold space and witness you and maybe that is a person that you can like trade those services with,
Hmm.
right? Like I think that's a great idea. There's a content creator that I follow and she has a friend like that and they're like we take turns. We watch each other's kids for date nights. We take turns being who's snack mom. We do this, we do that, like lifting the load for the other person, but then the other person also lifting the load back for you once they're they're full, right? Like
Yeah.
so I think that. And if you know that things like how you eat and how you drink and like needing to spend time in nature, like make them a priority, right? Because
Hmm.
it's not as simple as I want to go on a walk. If you took the word want out, and I don't actually like using the word need because I think it leads to the shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? But like it's a granular need for me
Yeah.
to go out and spend 15 minutes in nature every day.
Hmm. And
Like,
that
would you do
requires
that differently?
awareness, right? That requires awareness.
Yes. And like
Yes.
you are not any less important than your spouse, than your friends, than your family, than your children.
Mhm.
Like you can't show up for them if you're not showing up for you. You cannot do it. Because when you work yourself, which I think every person I know can say that they've gotten here to the point of they cannot do, like their body fights it back. They get sick. They like it shuts down.
Yep.
It makes you rest because it's like, oh, we are past fight or flight. We are to crap. I have to do something. Like if you knew your kid needed 15 minutes outside every single day, you can bet your ass you would make sure that happened.
Yes.
Why do you not make sure it happens for you?
Hmm.
And like instead of why, can we just say like right now today we're going to knock that shit off and we're going to just do it? Like,
Yes.
like I'm just going to do it. I'm going to make sure that I get this 15 minutes outside every day, because even though it's 15 minutes out of that day, how much more is that 15 minutes going to give you?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. And you know, I also have been working on not using the word need quite as much, because to me it sort of it carries a vulnerability that I don't enjoy. I don't enjoy like saying I need something, though if it feels right for you, please don't hesitate to use that word, but for
Yeah.
me it carries a vulnerability that I don't love. So instead
Mhm.
I say I would love, because that raises my vibration. That makes me go, "Ha, yes,
Yeah.
I would love it." That's true for me, right? And so find a word if you need to, that you can use to express the thing that's going to fill the tank. I would
Hmm.
love to take a walk. I would love to sit for 20 minutes and read a book. I would love to go to bed at 9, whatever that is for you, right? And you know, when you if you say this to the people in your house, let's say your husband or your kids, how different does it how different do they experience it when you say, listen guys, I would love to go to bed at 9, so what do we
Hmm.
need to do to make that happen?
Yes.
Or you know, or I pick your scenario, right? But
Yeah.
uh you know, it language matters for sure. And I mean, you're subliminally messaging yourself with your
Hmm.
words,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know. and
Yes.
and like Becky said, I mean, you know, saying need may make you feel things that are not in your best
Hmm.
interest, and if so, choose
Right.
another word.
Yeah.
um
I deserve, I would love, like whatever. Yes. 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 A million times. Yes.
And you know,
Yes.
just awareness of, I mentioned awareness earlier, but awareness of sort of, you know, check in with yourself and say, hey, what's the level? Use the tank analogy, use the car tank analogy if you want, or use a bucket whatever makes sense for you. Use a visual that you
Hmm.
love. But you know, how's my emotional tank today? How's my physical tank today? Right. And like, I can give you a perfect example of what a physical tank um sort of discernment moment would look like for me. Like when I can tell that my body needs things when I am on my period. Clearer than any other time of the month, my body's like, I need this, I need this, I need that. Like I get clarity from my body during that time, and I don't know why exactly. I can't explain that, but like, check in with yourself, because the answers are usually not far away. What do I need? How can I fill my tank? What's missing in this moment? Why do I
Hmm.
feel empty, dry, cracked? Right?
Yeah.
Go, kind of run through a list of kind of where you are. Are you half full? Are you three-quarters full? Are you a quarter full? Are you just about empty? Like, you know, don't hesitate to
Hmm.
kind of have that internal dialogue with yourself.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And yes, a million times. Yes. And I think, yes, gosh, yes, I'm so in. Check in with yourself.
Check
Yes.
in with
Like,
yourself.
why does that seem like, well, I mean, it both seems like, well, no duh, and kind of like, oh shit. Like this, like, right? Like, oh man, yeah, that seems super easy, and that seems really hard, right? Like
Well,
yeah,
mhm.
I think,
It's easy to say, not so easy to do, but
yeah.
what if you did?
What if you did? What if? What would your
Yeah.
life look like instead? Yeah. And
Well, and
like,
and go ahead. I have one more
I
thing,
was
but go
just
ahead.
gonna say, like, I think we were talking earlier this weekend about just the exhaustion. Now, I will say our
Mm.
kids are a little bit older, and I recognize that that gives us some flexibility that maybe moms with younger kids don't have. But if you need to go to bed at 6:30, go to bed at 6:30,
Yes, ma'am.
right? Like your exhaustion does not need to be quantified, right? Like it is there. And
Mm-hmm.
if you need to sleep, if you need to rest, if you need to do this, then do this. If you have younger kids and you're like, "Ooh, I just don't know if I can make it." You know what? Have a movie night. Get some blankets and some pillows and cuddle up on the couch and find a way to
Yeah.
still do what we have to do in those situations and still prioritize us. Like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just don't make excuses for not doing it. Like because you could just as easily make excuses to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So true. Wow. This is, the last thing I thought about sharing was releasing other people's expectations of what what you're experiencing, right? If you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter what other people expect of you. What matters is what you can do, what you want to do, what you're capable of in that moment.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times we stretch ourselves as mothers to suit expectations of others. Maybe it's
Yep.
our own expectations creeping in there a little bit, but that's something we can control, right?
Mhm.
Other people's expectations of us really aren't a factor, are they? Do they have to be?
Mhm.
No, not really. If if what your husband expects you to stay awake until the kids are done gaming at 12:30 at night, oh well, that's his expectation. Does that have to happen?
Nope.
No, right? You're not. I mean, no. It's kind of like big girl panties with the expectations. Like I say no
Mm.
to other people's expectations if it means that I've got the life sucked out of me.
Mm.
I say
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. And
And
I
we don't have to say yes. We don't have to say yes.
yeah. I I think God, that hits home so much because I think if you're sitting and you're struggling and you're like, man, I really need to, but like, I would encourage you to take a second and ask yourself, does this belong to me? Like,
Yes.
is this belief mine? Is it actually mine? Or is it something that I have taken from generationally? Is it something I've taken from society? Is it something I've taken from politically? Is it something I've taken from religiously? Is it right?
Mm-hmm.
Like is it yours to own that feeling, right? And
Mm-hmm.
if not, you have permission to cut ties with it, right?
Yes.
Like, or you can say, this doesn't serve me in this moment, right? Like, yeah. So just with those expectations and those things, because I think sometimes we hold on to them and we don't even recognize that we're doing it. For
Yeah.
a very
Or
long time in my motherhood, did things so extravagantly because I wanted to be the complete opposite of my mom. Right? Like
mm,
and I don't regret those decisions, right? But like was I holding on to them for the right reasons? Maybe not,
oh,
right? And so like just really if you're having like the internal battle there about whether or not to take care of yourself, like stop for a minute and like really ask yourself, does this belong to me?
that's such a good point, Becky. And I read I'm trying to remember the author's name, but I read a book once that was about, it was really about just personal growth and development. It wasn't necessarily about motherhood, but the author's point was that expectations are like the number one fastest way to suffering.
Mm,
Living in and dealing with other people's expectations of you equals suffering.
mm. You're always going
And
to be disappointing somebody.
yes. And I was like,
Like,
wow, that it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, whoa. Because then on the flip side of that, Becky, not only did I need to hear that for me and manage some of the my relationship with expectations from others. But on the flip side of that, I was, as a mother, holding a lot of expectation of my children,
Mm.
placing a lot of expectation on others. And that moment and those words on that page made me go, oh,
Oh, yeah.
wow. Like, I actually don't want
Mm-hmm.
that. I don't want my children to experience that. I'm having to unpack it now. I'm having to untangle myself from that shit now. Why would any mother want to create a
Yeah.
web of expectations for their children to have to undo if they can have the awareness now that
Mm-hmm.
that 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 expectations are not necessarily good for your wellness. That
Mm-hmm.
yeah, expectations of yourself, maybe, I guess, if done well and consciously, maybe
Mm-hmm.
having your self expectation is a good thing. But I want to bring this back to the running on empty thing real quick, and maybe we'll end here. Becky, is when we run on empty, we model
Mm-hmm.
emptiness. We model self abuse. We model, you know, we model response to other people's expectations. We model that women should carry all this shit around, that we should strip ourselves bare from all the things we're carrying around and what the world thinks we should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
When I don't want my kids to see that. And if you can find no other motivation in this moment because you're running on empty, let that be your motivation. Don't show your kids that shit,
Yep.
because they will. We mothers want their kids to do better than they did, right? I think so. I think that's a
Yeah.
pretty broad generalization that's safe to say. I think we all want that for our kids. But when we run on empty, they learn that that's normal, or that that's how it should be done. And I know I'm suggesting you do something that might feel hard if your tank is really empty. Your tank is really empty right now. But maybe just that one little thing, right, could start to look different.
Yes. This is a great spot to stop. And the only
Go
thing I
ahead.
will add
Keep
to
going.
that is that um when we think about trauma on a medical level, okay, um, it's stop the bleed, right? It's first aid, and then it's long term.
Mm,
And just recognize that first aid in exhaustion for the 98% of moms who are saying they're burnt out, for the 16% of moms who are saying they are burnt out all the time, it's first aid.
mm-hmm.
And then it's long term. And so first aid may look different. It may look like I need a donut right now, not a spinach smoothie, right? It may
Yes.
not. That's just an example, but I'm just saying like first aid right now may look different than long-term care does. But like you said, just do the hard thing, put the band-aid on. So that
Mm-hmm.
way we can get past here, because really the question that we asked in the beginning, like how do we change it? Like we take action.
Yeah. One step, one foot in front
One
of the
step.
other,
It
right?
doesn't have to be a leap. It doesn't even have to be a step. It can be a shuffle. So, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I really love how this turned out. Kind of have
Me too.
goosebumps all over. I was yeah, feeling a little empty before this, as I shared, but I think gosh, I feel a little bit nourished
Mm.
uh as we wrap up today. I hope you do too. Thanks, Becky. Until
Thank
next
you.
time.